Mortal Shell, the uncompromising, authentic, and hauntingly beautiful action RPG built upon the ruthless traditions of the Soulslike genre, has been talked about briefly the past few weeks. And so now, we would like to dive into the details. With a current Q3 2020 release window set to launch on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, Mortal Shell is currently in development at indie studio Cold Symmetry and being published by PlayStack. Upon seeing the game's world premiere gameplay trailer in action, as well as checking out the eye-pleasing screenshots, we were shocked to learn that what is on showcase has been crafted by a team of only 15 developers, passionately burning the midnight oil in excitement to bring their ambitious project to light. At a glance, Mortal Shell features exquisitely crafted worlds, some fearsome combat, and menacing foes. Previously known as Dungeon Haven, in its earliest days of development, Mortal Shell has been painstakingly designed by a prized coalition of veteran developers who are credited with working on some of the biggest AAA titles on the market. And upon seeing Mortal Shell in action, I certainly believe it. When I first saw the game, I immediately thought developer From Software was at it again. However, Mortal Shell is being produced by a core team of talented creators and was only made possible due to the team's pedigree and burning desire to honor the painful majesty of the genre. According to the studio's 3 co-founders, and I quote, "For a small team like ours, developing this title in many ways felt like crossing an ocean on a paddleboard. Seems quite difficult. To finally announce Mortal Shell is one of the most exciting and terrifying experiences we've had in our lifetimes. The last 2 years have been a time of non-stop growth, full of shocking revelations of sheer complexity that goes into creating a video game that you yourself would really love and enjoy to play." Wow. You can tell there's much riding on this game based on how passionate the developer's convictions are. So what exactly is Mortal Shell? According to a narrative explanation by developer Cold Symmetry, awakening as an empty vessel, you the player will enter into a shattered and twisted world where the remains of humanity wither and rot. Implored to do the bidding of the mysterious Dark Father, you must traverse this tattered landscape and track down hidden sanctums of devout followers, whatever that means. There, in Mortal Shell's most hallowed grounds, you must overcome formidable foes and harvest the sacred glands. You won't be truly alone when the dead litter your path. Scattered across this land are remnants enema of lost warriors, who can be inhabited to gain their unique abilities and knowledge of weapons. The Dark Father is desperate for you to complete your tasks, but to what end? Okay, so there is much here to gather. So first, what leaped off the page in reading that was the idea of harvesting glands and the remnant anima of lost warriors who can be inhabited to gain their unique abilities and knowledge of weapons. This sounds absolutely amazing. So here is where the shells come into play. So shells are these defeated, or as the narrative explains, dead warriors who players eventually come across on their journey, which players can then inhabit by occupying their bodies, almost like putting on a new suit, if you will. And then in this way, you understand that warrior's form of combat, mastering their skills and weapon upgrades. Developer Cold Symmetry also states that over time, players are able to inhabit shells which best suits their playstyle. So here's the question. Does this mean that you as you inhabit a shell, are you also able to collect multiple shells and use them for later usage? We suppose so, based on how things have been explained. This all sounds truly amazing. Looking at the game's combat and campaign, developer Cold Symmetry explains that combat is quite deliberate with a strategic approach, similar to the games like Sekiro or the Bloodborns of the world. Here, survival demands superior awareness, precision, and instincts. You must commit your sword only when an opportunity opens, calculating your parries to unleash devastating counterblows. So, without saying too much, we're going to assume that there will be a form of a stamina bar of some kind involved, and players who gamble incorrectly committing their sword in combat will pay a hefty price, or so it seems. We have also learned that with Mortal Shell, the game will offer a non-linear campaign. However, based on the gameplay reveal, it does not seem like a full-on open-world experience, only partial. Players will draw their own paths across marsh-infested lowlands through a gargantuan cathedral of obsidian rocks and into an ancient crypt frozen into the crests of a mountain. So we assume multiple pathways of discovery may be leading to mini-boss confrontations and epic boss battles. The stronger your connection to each mortal shell grows, the better you can harness their innate talents. This could be founded on a progression system integrated with enhancements and the possibility of XP along the way. We do know that players will craft unique upgrades, like being able to sharpen your blade with acid, sounds so cool, and study dark arcane abilities that imbue your attacks with supernatural devastation. At the moment, Mortal Shell already looks more than promising. With, and as mentioned before, a Q3 2020 launch window, we will be sure to bring you more details surrounding the game as its launch draws near. And there you have it.
Empty shell, flesh and instinct without